Hi, my name is Davender Gupta and welcome. Over the next few minutes, I'd like to explore with you what is business, what is entrepreneurship, and what makes a good idea as the foundation of your startup, of your business. These ideas will help you to better understand the context that we are going to use over the next few weeks in this course, Starting a Business in Canada. I don't know if you recognize this person. You might have heard of the name, Nikola Tesla. Tesla was a prolific inventor, and he came onto his own at the end of the 19th century, beginning of the 20th century. And he basically prototyped a lot of the things we take for granted today: radio, radar, semiconductors, electric motors, wireless charging. That all came from his amazing brain. And he set up a big laboratory and demonstrated all of these ideas. And he had lots of patents to his name. But the problem is he died penniless. He died without really having benefited from what he created. He was not able to commercialize all his inventions. His contemporary, you might have heard of this name too, Thomas Edison. Yeah, he was an inventor. He tried things. But Thomas Edison's big strength was the ability to build a business, was the ability to sell, was the ability to build systems around what he had invented so that people could benefit from that, and in such a way that people wanted what Edison had built. So the story of Nikola Tesla is worth reading if you get a chance to read it. But the moral of his life is probably summed up in, if you build it, they will not necessarily come. And that's the big problem of a lot of entrepreneurs today. It's relatively easy to start a business. It's not complicated to start a business, but to grow it and to grow it successfully, that's the hard part. And that's what we hope that you'll be able to experience during the next few weeks in this class. I start with the idea of innovation. Innovation is what? It's really two parts. One part is the new idea, the process, the service, the offer, the inventing part, the creating part. For many people, that's the fun part because that's what they see, that's what they want to do. But innovation needs the second part, which is how it makes an impact that people value. If you're not able to get your product in the hands of people who say, yes, I want it, and they're willing to give you their credit card number, they're willing to give you cash, then it's just an invention. It's pretty, it's fun, but it doesn't get you anywhere. So what you want is not just an idea. It's not just an invention. You want to find an innovation. That's what you want to build. In our approach to entrepreneurship in this course, and for most of my life, I've been working with startup entrepreneurs for over 20 years. And I've found that the businesses that launch, that get traction and grow successfully are the ones that are able to create a relationship of trust between themselves and their clients because they're exchanging something of value towards a win-win result. So that's why I say business at its core is a very human interaction. And the danger as companies start to grow is that they distance themselves from the clients and they lose that relationship of trust. And then the company collapses. And that relationship of trust, especially today in our digital age, is so important because many times your clients will not even see or touch or taste or feel what you are offering. They're doing it on a basis of trust. And that's why you have to always keep your customer in mind at every step as you're building your product, as you're building your service, and as you're deploying it out into the world. You need to build that relationship of trust. Otherwise, everything falls apart. And that's why finding the right idea is so important, because it's not every idea that's going to help you create that relationship of trust. Business, the definition of business, it's a system that creates value, that delivers value, and that captures value. Create, deliver, capture. This is going to come up several times in our conversations during this course. So you can look at this Venn diagram here as a start for the idea. Of course, we start with me. It has to start with me. I have ideas, I have passions, I have talents, I have dreams, I have skills that I want to put out into the world. You are full of ideas right now that you're just itching to get going on. Well, that's great. Hold that idea as a starting point. But now you have to consider the other person. It's a relationship of trust. Trust is not just one person. You need two people to make it happen. So the relationship of trust towards the other person is they have needs, they have desires, they have passions that they want fulfilled, and they're looking for solutions. And maybe your idea is a solution for what they need right now to satisfy their need, to solve their problem. And if it is, they're willing to give you of their time, their energy, their money, their attention, their loyalty. That's the resources. So you are offering the other person your resources, what you have built, and in return, they're giving you their resources, what they have to offer. And if it's done right, you get into this nice intersection of the three circles, which is added value. You're adding value to them, they're adding value to you. Now, if you are building your idea, notice here is just part of your idea meets the needs, desires, passions, and dreams of others. If you're not in that overlapping between my ideas and their needs, there's no demand. Or they have needs, desires, passions, and dreams, but they don't see themselves in what you are offering. There's no energy. So they're not going to come to you. They're not going to offer their money. They're not going to offer their time, their loyalty, their energy. And of course, you may be overpromising. You may be offering to solve every single problem they have, but either you don't have the means to be able to deliver, or they don't have the means to be able to give it back to you. So you either price yourself out of the market, or you over deliver and you fail to deliver. So you want to be in this magic piece here, this added value, a system that creates, delivers, and captures value. There are two types of entrepreneurship. One is necessity entrepreneurship, and the other is growth or opportunity entrepreneurship. Necessity entrepreneurship is something that you're doing to create your own job. And a lot of entrepreneurs, that's what they build. They build something that allows them to make a living, and that's great. That's super. And a lot of the principles that we're going to explore here apply to necessity entrepreneurship. However, I want to focus more on this course and challenge you to find an opportunity for growth entrepreneurship, to build a company that can grow just beyond satisfying your own paycheck, but where you're creating jobs, you're creating value for others, you're creating a system around you. And that is really, really exciting. As I mentioned, the principles are the same. It's just what your ambition is in terms of growing the business. So I'm going to challenge you to find an opportunity, not just a necessity, but an opportunity, a growth entrepreneurship idea project. And that way you can truly understand what entrepreneurship is about. So growth entrepreneurship, aims to solve an important problem by creating a business model that generates a significant added value for all stakeholders and with the intention of becoming the go-to reference for its market. Now, growth entrepreneurship doesn't mean you have to aim to conquer the world. You can be the reference in your city. You can be the reference in your province or state. You can be the reference in your country. You can be the reference in your market. But you want to be bigger than just yourself. And that's what growth entrepreneurship is all about. You want to solve an important problem. And that's what we're going to focus on, because it's all about the impact. And the danger is if your ideas are too small to start off with, it's going to be really hard to create an impact. And it's in the impact, if we go back to that Venn diagram we saw before, the more impact you create, the better you're able to meet the needs, solve the problems of the other person, the more they are willing to invest in what you're offering, the more they're willing to pay with their money, their time, their attention, their loyalty. So it's all about the impact. You want to find an idea that solves an important problem. Doesn't have to be big, doesn't have to be a multi-million-dollar problem, but what it has to do is solving the problem or meeting that need or fulfilling that desire has an impact on the other person. So your ideas that are bubbling in your head, ask yourself, where's it coming from? Is it coming from personal experience? Or is it coming from what if extrapolation? So you see the world around you and you imagine what it could be. Is it coming from empathy? Something you've observed in either your situation or other people's situation, and you've seen the situation replicated enough that you say, yeah, this is worth trying to solve? Or is it excitement? Is it something that you're inspired by, that you've been imagining, that you're passionate about? Wherever your ideas come from, it's fine. But it is important to recognize where it comes from, because it will help you better understand how to connect your solution, your idea, with another person's problem. So what is your idea? Of course, it's a vision of what you want to do, but are you problem driven or solution driven? What I see in my coaching is a lot of people have a great idea, but then they're trying to fit it in to a market or a problem. And that's tough, because it's black and white, yes or no, either it fits or not. And that's really difficult. If you have a solution, if you start with the solution, trying to figure out where the sweet spot is to be in that center of the Venn diagram. If you are problem driven, if by recognizing a problem you want to solve, or a desire you want to meet, or a need that you want to solve, if you're problem driven, then you can build the solution based on what you find is the most important aspect of that problem that needs to be solved, or that need that needs to be filled, or the desire that wants to be fulfilled. And you will find the wow in your idea when you find that sweet spot. So a lot of the work that we're going to do up front has nothing to do with, is this a profitable idea? It is about finding what is the wow. Where can you sort of unlock that passion, that energy that gets the other person to say, yes, I want this. I want this now. Here, take my money. Here, I will tell you about you to my friends. I will like your Facebook page, whatever it is, whether it's money, time, energy, or loyalty. You want to find that wow. And that's the hardest part, because then building your solution, when you know what you're trying to do, it's a lot easier to build your solution then to meet the needs that you're trying to fulfill. So be problem driven. not solution driven. Your life will be a lot easier and you'll build a business that is much stronger and that will grow bigger, last longer, be more profitable for everybody. So finding the wow, it's an emotion. Does it get to the core issues? You want to figure out what's the transformation, what is the impact that you're creating, and it has to be something that challenges you to grow. You whatever happens, you want to be able to you want this to be a challenge, a personal challenge. If it's easy for you to do, it's probably not going to have the impact that you think it will have. You want to find how people are going to become raving fans. They're going to be so excited about what you're doing because it meets a need that is so important to them. And Tom Peters is one of my favorite business authors. If you have a chance to find some of his books, and this is his concept in terms of raving fans, about finding the wow. When I read his books, when I started off in business, it really transformed my way of thinking. And I realized, yeah, it is about the emotion. You want people to be passionate about what you're doing because you're sharing passion with them. That's what you're doing in your business. Then the other question is, why do you want to do this? What is your why? How does this fit with your personal life mission? How do you define success in doing this? How does this fit with your personal philosophy and values? So if you're doing something just to make money, it will not work. It has to be an extension of who you are. What you're building is an extension, and the best stories that are out there, the best businesses, trace their success to a founder or an important person at the beginning of the company, beginning of the business, who found a way to make it an extension of who they are. Excellent example, Apple. When I say Apple, who do you think of? Steve Jobs. Yes, there were other leaders that came into Apple, but he's the one who founded the company, and then he came back to the company and really made it an extension of his philosophy. And that's the reason why Apple computers are so different from Windows computers, because it's an extension of his philosophy. And when Steve Jobs passed away, his successors tried to extend that philosophy, and they ended up adding their own spin to it. So business is very personal. Even if it's a multi-billion-dollar business, if it's properly done, it's an extension of who you are. And that's why it's so important to become a personal philosopher, to understand what is your mission, what's your passion, what are your values, because they're going to come out in what you do. Another book that I highly recommend that I love, Good to Great by Jim Collins. He talks about the Hedgehog Principle. It comes from a story that says the fox knows many things, but the hedgehog knows one big thing. And it's basically that the fox tries all kinds of things to eat the hedgehog, but the hedgehog has one big thing. When threatened, he turns into a ball of spikes, and he does it really good, and it works. So that's what you want to find in your idea, this big, hairy, audacious idea, this BHAG. It has to be an idea that you're deeply passionate about, and something that you can be the best in the world, whatever your world is, your town, your city, your province, your country, your group, your whatever the world is defined for you, but you want to be the best at it. And finally, what drives your economic engine? So this first part of the course, we're going into what you're passionate about, what you can be the best in the world at. And then we're going to look at what is the economic engine that you can build around this? How can you create, deliver, and capture value? Those three things need to be there for a business to succeed. When I look at an idea, when I'm coaching somebody who's starting their business, I ask them, what makes your idea irresistibly attractive? for you, because you're going to put your life into this, and also for your clients, and eventually for your employees and your teammates. You want to build something that people are going to be attracted to. And so I say there's 4 P's to make your idea irresistibly attractive: purpose, passion, people, which creates profit. So purpose, it goes back to what is the impact you're creating? What is the change you're you are creating for people? What is the problem you're trying to solve? And a good test is, if you weren't being paid any money to do this, would you still be doing it? And that's an important question, because when you start a business, it takes a while before you start seeing some profit. And most entrepreneurs, they put everything on the line, their savings, their job, their house, hopefully not their relationships, but unfortunately that happens sometimes. So you have to find something that's really aligned with your purpose. And that makes life a lot easier if what you are building as a business and it is an extension of who you are. Passion, the creative tension between the future you want to create and the present moment. So as an example, I use, like, if you are ready to fire a rubber band. So if my thumb is the future, and where I'm holding the upper band of the rubber band is the present, if I don't have enough tension between the future and the present, the change I want to create, and I let go of the rubber band, my rubber band's not going to go it's not going to go too far. So I want to find that right tension, that right difference between the future I want to create in the present moment, the impact I want to create in the present moment. And when the tension's just right and I let go of the elastic, poof, it goes far. So that's how I visualize passion. It's a creative tension. It's what gets you up in the morning. It's what will get you working through the night because you love what you're doing. You will go through rain, snow, sleet, uh, dust storms to be able to create what's most important to you, because you have that creative tension, you have that passion. Passion is your energy. People. It's not just you and your client. There's a whole network of stakeholders, and we'll be exploring your stakeholders, your partners, your contributors, people that are going to be your employees, your suppliers, people who are going to help you in terms of deciding. Many times, the decision to buy is not just one person. There's a number of stakeholders that are involved. So you want to find a way to connect and create relationships of trust with all of these people around you. So you need to be aware of what's the ecosystem around your business, around your idea. Profit is the result. It's not the purpose of business. It's the result of business. If you have the other P's aligned, purpose, passion, people, if you have them well aligned, you will create win-win, tangible and intangible impact. That's what profit is. It's not just the money, it's the impact, the intangible, and both have to be there in equal measure for your company to succeed. So your first idea is just a starting point. It's like Michelangelo said, and he starts with a block of marble, and he chips away all the pieces that are not necessary, and he ends up with the statue David. So it's just the starting point. So over the next few weeks, you're going to have an opportunity to change your mind, to go in a different direction, to try different things. Don't get too wedded to your idea from the start. You're going to find if you're going to be too solution driven, and it's going to be really hard to find the business model that works around your idea. Be problem driven. Look at your block and set yourself as your goal that you want to remove everything that's extraneous. This whole process is about not just discovering what you know, but what you know. And that's where too many entrepreneurs stop. You want to explore what you don't know, your hypothesis, also what you don't know about what you know, your intuition, and finally discovering an insight. And the what makes the difference between a company that grows and a company that really scales is because the scaling company, the company that grows fast and strong and profitably, has discovered an insight, something that they didn't know about what they didn't know, and nobody else knows about it, but it works. And when you find that trigger factor, that means you found the insight, and that's when your business really takes off. We'll do some exploration, some tools you can use to help you find that insight, that magic trigger that will get your company to grow. Talking about growth here, how is an idea that can be scaled? And that makes the difference between a necessity entrepreneurship and opportunity entrepreneurship. The problem with necessity entrepreneurship, it can be great, you can build a living off of it, but it's really, really difficult to scale. And a lot of self-employed professionals have that problem. They cannot scale their business because it's dependent just on themselves. They're limited to the time that they can work in a week, in a year. And so you need to be able to build systems around it. You need to be able to address also a market that's larger than just the people that you know. So we're going to talk a little bit about how you grow your market. And finally, how will this need evolve with time? And this pandemic period that we're living as I'm recording this is making a big change in people's needs. And it's, it's anybody's guess what the needs will be as we come out of this. Of course, there is pent up consumer demand. People are going to want things, but also I believe people are going to realize that things are not as important because they've been able to live 1 or 2 years without getting a lot of things. They want experiences. So how will your client's needs evolve with time? And that becomes really important in considering, is this an idea that can scale? This is a model of growth just to let you know where we're at in the definition process. And we are starting here. What is your idea? Idea generation, the concept. And we're going to explore the definition phase, which is the next one. What important problem do you solve? So at the end of this course, you're going to be able to talk about with confidence the problem that you want to solve. Who is experiencing it? Why is solving this problem important? And what are the aspects of your offer that people are willing to buy? So we're going to be a lot here in problem solution fit. Then after that, it's product market fit. That's where you start getting into the finances, start figuring out, okay, how much should I charge for this? What are my input costs? What are my output costs? What are my revenue streams? All those kinds of things. Then after that, execution maturity. Now you're making some sales and you're starting to grow. You're starting to put some systems and people around your business so that you can start to get out of just survival mode and into growth and profitability mode. And finally, you're scaling to become the go-to leader in your market. So in this course, we're going to be very much at idea and definition, which are the critical stages. Too many companies try and raise venture money too fast. They think that they're at the validation or even at the efficiency stage, and they haven't done the basics. They don't have the foundation strong. We're going to work on your foundation for your business. Peter Drucker, another business philosopher. I highly recommend that you find his books and that you read. He says, find a need that beats your drum. Create a plan, then make a dent. Trust that your rewards will come and credit them as heaven sent. Find a need that beats your drum. for the next couple of weeks. That's your task. Find a need that beats your drum. Find a problem that ignites your passion with people that you want to be around, that's aligned with your purpose, your mission. And then you'll find that the how, the profit will just fall from that. Find a need that beats your drum. That's my presentation to kick off this journey that we're going to do together. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask me. And I look forward to seeing what ideas you come up with. Thank you for paying attention.